Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Aknakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And I might end up changing the name of this lesson, all right, the title. It's titled Deception, the All-American Pastime. Now, I say that I might change it because I had one that was called American Pastime or something. I can't find it, but let's see. Yeah. So, it's America's favorite pastime. So I guess it's kind of a little bit different. But this one's going to be titled Deception, the All-American Pastime. So, kind of familiar to those titles. But, again, this one's the All-American Pastime. It's All-American Deception. And, if something is titled the All-American, all right, let's go and see what that would mean. So, if something is titled All-American, i.e. the All-American Pastime, what does it mean? It says when something is called All-American, it usually means it represents something people see as quintessentially American. It embodies the culture, the values, or traditions that are strongly associated with the U.S., right? It says, so if you hear the All-American Pastime, it is referring to something that is seen as deeply rooted in American life, okay? So it's been used to describe baseball, right? But, deception is an all-American pastime. It makes up the values and the cultures and the traditions of what America is. Deception, okay? Deception. They lie, all right? And it's these Edomites, that control the place, all right? Of course, the earth is, the world is given in, the world is given in the hand, come on, brain, of the wicked. Right here in Job 9:24, it says the earth. Slakia, double guessed myself. Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So it's given in the hand of the wicked. They are the wicked. Okay, and Esau, mind you, is the wicked. All right, they're called the border of wickedness. So. One of their favorite things they love to do in all-American pastime is deception. And, lying and deception and murder. There's a lot of different things, and really we should go and look up the difference between what deception and a lie is first. All right, so what is the difference between deception and a lie? Now, I think they usually define it as deception as something for, like, monetary gain. Usually is what they usually say, I think. It says a deception is a broad category of intentionally misleading someone, while a lie is a specific type of deception involving a false statement. All lies are deceptive, but not all deception involves lying, as it can also include actions like omission, misleading behavior, or half-truths. Okay, omission, all right, that's leaving something out. Okay, misleading is, that's that, smooth as right here. That's Psalms 55:21 right there. Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So he's got that, a very smooth talker, right? He can be deceptive, right? Through omission. All right, omission. You can go and look that up. It's leaving something out. Here, that's what I wanted to click. Omission.
Omission.
All right. The action of excluding or leaving out someone or something. Okay. So, oh, yeah, we're going to give you a bunch of money, but they didn't, tell you that they're going to stab you in the stomach afterward. That would be omission, right? Or you have misleading behavior. It's saying, oh, we're gonna, what's an example? Okay, give me an example of misleading behavior. Okay, it says, an example of a misleading behavior is a company advertising a product is 100% effective without scientific proof. For example, think about a couple years ago, something that they were offering to everybody, all right, to take, and they said, oh, it's 100% effective, all right, and then it turned out that it was not, all right. That really is a lie, all right. Being misleading is essentially it is as likened unto a lie. It says, or half truths, right? Lying, directly saying something false, omission, withholding important information to create a false impression or false narrative, right? Paltering, what is this? Equivocation, using truthful statements or ambiguities to mislead, misleading actions, behaving in a way that suggests something untrue. So, you see it. It says deception is the overarching concept, while lying is one tool within it. So deception is the whole bag. All right, lying is just one tool that they use. And deception is the all-American pastime, right? What I got here is two photos, all right? And I believe they both came from Reddit at one point or another. Some have been in my camera roll for a little bit. This other one's been sitting in Reddit for a while, and I just ended up downloading it for the lesson to get it onto my computer instead of the phone, because I cleared them all out. But I got these two, and they're both dealing, with the immigrants, as they'd like to be called, as by Edomites, and they both really deal with the same thing. All right, and deception, and just not only just deception, but lies, because they are blatantly just lying. Okay, they are blatantly lying. There's a lesson that I made just the other day dealing with AI, and it was just a blatant lie, right? Right here it is. E is using AI to demonize Jake, and it was just a blatant lie, right? It was a video. It was a lie in a video format, all right, showing someone to do something that they did that they didn't do. All right, and that woman didn't exist. None of those people existed. That reporter, all right, it was all AI, and they're saying, "Oh, I make, $2,000 a month on food stamps." Ain't nobody ever make no $2,000 on food stamps, right? Ain't nobody ever make no 2,000s on food stamps. That's crazy. Okay, that's wild. But they'll lie and say it, all right, because it fits their narrative. Okay, they will deceive you. Okay, and really, one of the biggest people being deceived right now. Not only, of course, these dumbass Jakes, but these MAGA people, man. And it's funny to me because you got Edomites deceiving Edomites, right? He's gotten the dumb and the decrepit to, be subjugated under his power in this deception. They're saying, the immigrants are coming, they're going to take your jobs, and they're going to kill you all. And they'll believe it. They believe it. And they're all, these goddamn immigrants are taking our jobs. First of all, you're retired, aren't you? Yeah, I've been retired for 10 years. Why are you worried about the job market? You ain't gonna work one. You don't work a job. You're retired. They're eating up all our goddamn food. What are you talking about? I thought America was the greatest country ever. They have the infrastructure to help everybody, right? Shouldn't run out of food. No greatest country would ever run out of food, right? It wouldn't really be the greatest country if they were running out of food, right? They're gonna come here and take our women, right? All a bunch, just anything. They're the ones doing all the crimes, and then you find out that crime, what race in America commits the most crime? And you're gonna see. White people. Blacks, right? But watch. However, represent 26% of total arrests, including 51% of the murder arrests, 52% of the robbery arrests, 28% of burglary arrests. Well, we'll go on this, all right? This is the online library of liberty, all right? And it's the way Esau, and Google has gotten it, is deceptive, right? So you'll see that right down here. We'll have to find it. But it talks about the number of crimes that they've committed, right, in proportion to, you know, by the way, this is a per capita listing. It says black residents also have the highest level, all right, as of 2019. And it's going off of incarceration levels. But what we're looking for is, let's see. And this is what they give you. This is why you got to look it up. Let's see. So this is arrests. Adults arrested for murder, all right? Not the people that are doing it. This is why you got to find, not per capita. You got to find, you know, who are doing what amount of crime is being done, not convictions, all right, but what amount of crime is being done. You see that white individuals arrested for more violent crimes than that of any other race accounted for 59% of those arrests. That's from the FBI. It says disproportionately. No, that's not what we're looking for. All right, we're looking for, you know, I can go and ask, what race does the most crime, not per capita, but gross numbers in America? Poll stats from FBI and reputable sources. There you go. That's why they don't like it. That's why they like to go off of this, because they don't look into it. People say, see, blacks. All right, no, look into it. That's per capita. Okay? If you had 5 white people, all right, that went out, no, if you have 10 white people and 7 of them, all right, or no, let's say if you have 2 black people, all right, and one of them bought an orange, 50% likelihood to buy an orange, all right? Although if you had 10 white people, all right, and 4 of them bought an orange, all right, that black person would still be more likely, instead of 40%, they're 50% more likely to buy an orange. More oranges are being bought by white people, but it's going to seem like black people buy more, just based off of per capita. That's why per capita is not a good statistic amount. Okay, it's not a good way to track anything. The only thing per capita does is notify trends. All right, yeah, for being such a smaller population, yeah, crime is more likely to exist among the so-called, I'll just say Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They label it as so-called Negro, but among Jake. But the problem is that that's per capita. They're not really looking in who's doing. If you had 4 Jakes, all right, and 2 of them did crime, all right, and then you have 10 white people, and 4 or 5 of them did crime, all right, it's gonna look worse on black folk because there's less of them. All right, that's just how it works. It says, according to the compilation of FBI Uniform Crime Reporting UCR data, it's this right here. For the violent crime arrests in 2023, among known race categories, the largest number of arrests were identified as white. All right. Next to those were black or African American. Right. For property crime arrests, the largest number was white. Okay. 413,000 compared to 170,000. Yeah. Let's see. In terms of gross numbers of arrests for violent crime, people identified as white make up the largest number of arrests among the known race categories for data. So, statistically, you are more likely to be attacked or have a crime perpetrated against you by a white individual than a black individual. It's not going to answer that one. I can already tell. It completely stopped. Did not like that one at all. We'll leave it. We'll see if it comes back. All right, but I'll just put it off to the side. So, but yeah, so a lot of lies. All right, they don't like getting that information. So every time that stuff comes out, I just like to, you know, go and talk about more of their deception. Again, deception's an all-American pastime, right? It's one of the things that are fundamental for American society, right? Lying. Okay, this country wouldn't be what it is today without lies, right? So let's get the pictures. All right, we got this one right here. Oh, it finally answered it. It says, as we just noted in raw numbers, more people arrested and identified in offenders in the FBI were white, largely because white Americans make up 58 to 60% of the U.S. population. But that doesn't mean you're more likely to be victimized by a white person, because likelihood depends on per capita offending rates. They're going to try to get on Jake, but watch, we're going to throw that under the bus. Real easy. It says, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics 2018 to 2022 National Crime Victimization Survey, they found that what? It says most violent crime is interracial, meaning victims and offenders tend to be of the same race. About 70 to 80% of white victims of violent crime report the offender was also white. 75 to 75% of black victims report the offender was black, right? So it says intraracial. It says interracial crime, one race attacking another, is a minority of cases overall. So it says in raw forms, yes, more crimes overall are committed by white offenders than black offenders because white population is much more larger. In personal terms, no, you are not more likely as an American to be attacked by a white person just because of those numbers. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's how it works. But anyway, so right here we have one of the big deceptive lying practices of Esau as of now, right? The immigrants, right? Oh, they're lazy and they're collecting all the welfare and they're living off the government, but they're also taking all of our jobs. Okay, so which one is it? Are they taking all the jobs, or are they lazy and not working any jobs and collecting the welfare? Which one is it? Okay, which one is it? And that's a fascist talking point, by the way. All right, it's to make the enemy look both weak and powerful at the same time. Okay, so if you're gonna say something like that, you gotta be able to back it up. Okay, for example, we can prove. You might say, "Oh, you do the same thing with the Edomites." Well, that's because it is factual. We can prove it that Esau, all right, why they are weak, all right, the Lord, all right, in the Bible has lifted them up, okay, and put them in a position of power. All right, so that's really not a power play on Esau's part. That's a power play on the Lord's part, showing you that he can take the weakest nation and make them into the strongest in this current state. Okay, so you can prove that with fact and just how they act, and just through the Bible. All right, it doesn't matter if you don't believe the Bible or not. I mean, it's in there. If you could read a scientific novel to me, all right, or something, some scientific paperwork, all right, that you've done a hypothesis on and you've came to a conclusion about something. And if I don't like science, I'm not going to believe it. Right? So just because, that's not not believing something or not liking the Bible is not a big enough reason to say that, oh, it's not true. Right? I could say I don't think you have brown hair. If you have brown hair, you're still going to have it. I could say that I don't think you do. Doesn't matter, though. Everyone else is still going to think that it's true. Right? Or that it's false in that case. So, yeah, Schrodinger's immigrant. And, it's based off of Schrodinger's cat. Which is, of course, the cat in the box. Could be dead, could be alive. You don't really know until you see it. It's really, Schrodinger's concept is really it's really the epitome of being too deep. All right, it's kind of bugged out in general. Well, if I put a cat in a box and I zap it, is it dead or is it alive? Well, just because you don't see nothing doesn't mean it's not dead. Right? That's like the same old, question of if a tree falls in the middle of wood and no one's around, did it make a sound? Yes, it made a sound. All right, no one was around to hear it though. All right, of course it made a sound. All right, so let me grab this drink of water, slack you. You have a lot of those too deep things that do. Oh, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Depends. What chicken or egg are we talking about? Are we talking about the the chicken that made that egg? All right, or are we talking about the chick that it has been given birth to? Okay, you have to have some context in that. If you're talking about, it came first, the chicken or the egg, I'm sure that information could be out there. All right, I don't know if what forms first, the embryo or the egg. All right, I would assume it's the egg because with birds, they're known to basically they have like a period almost. All right, female birds, they have a period essentially is what they do. If the egg, they have a series of eggs, and if they don't get fertilized, they lay them, and they don't have any baby birds in them. They're just they call it a something egg. I don't remember what they're called. So really it's the egg came first, right? Until it was fertilized. But that's the Schrodinger's concept is stupid. That's more Edomite, not wisdom, but they'd say wisdom. Edomite lack of wisdom, where everything's just too deep, So that's just a dumb concept. But anyway, that's completely off topic. But yeah, the whole Schrodinger thing is just stupid anyway. But yeah, they're lazy in collecting all the welfare, and they don't want to work a job, and they come over here to live off of America. But they're taking all of the jobs, right? And all they do is work all day and take all the jobs, all right? And then they're lazy and collecting what they're working and taking all the jobs. They must not be too lazy if they're working and taking all the jobs, all right? So that's a lie, okay? That's a lie, okay? So that's like and that's double-minded. All right, let's actually jump to we'll come back to Proverbs. Let's jump over to James 1:8, and it says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Getting tongue twisted. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Slakia. So, and this is dealing with Jake, of course, and, ones that, pray and say, oh, Lord's going to help me. Maybe he won't, though, right? You're not supposed to do that. But, Esau is a double-minded man in himself. And, they'll say one thing and another, and they'll be completely, completely different. They're not even comparable, right? Oh, these guys are working all these jobs and taking all of our jobs. And then next month, they're like, these guys are fucking lazy and collecting all this unemployment and welfare and this food stamps. Well, hold up. I thought they were taking all the jobs. Which one is it, man? Which one is it? All right? And it goes back to that. They fear Jake. They fear Jake. All right? Here's another one. It says, the billionaire media wants you to obsess about imaginary crimes committed by immigrants, so you ignore the massive crimes committed by them. And it's true. They want you to, overlook, all right, the imaginary crimes that are being committed by immigrants. Oh, they're coming over here, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, they're doing that. Why? So you ignore the crimes that's being committed by them. Again, that's deception, all right? Keeping eyes on these guys so the eyes are off of them, okay? And saying these guys are the ones doing the crime. That's just a lie. Okay, that's just a lie. Okay, and this is Proverbs 12:20. It says, deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil, but that the counselors of peace is joy. And these guys do imagine evil. All right, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. Right here, Micah 2:1. It says, woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. They do it because they can do it, right? They do it because they can do it. And they imagine evil. It's their favorite thing to do. These people are the wicked. What do the wicked do? Evil, wickedness. They are the wicked after all, right? And it says, deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil. So, I mean, we can't make it much clearer than that, but I can go over the Bible Gateway and throw it into the Good News Translation, see what it happens to say. It says, those who plan evil are in for a rude surprise, but those who work for good will find happiness. I like that. That's good. All right. But yeah, man, these people, they're just deceitful. All right. They're deceitful. They're deceitful people. I'd ask ChatGPT who the most deceitful race is, but I know they want to. I know, okay. Next question. And it's going to sound loaded, but I mean well. Okay. What race would you say is the most deceptive if you had to pick off of historical context? Not hatred or any of that. Just off of actions seen in history. Alright. I mean, if you just had to pick one, like, say, on the largest scale deception, who theoretically would you go with? It slowed down. It doesn't want to answer it. Ha! It says that's a fair follow-up. You're not asking about racial traits, but about a historical power or culture engaged in the largest scale of deception. If we reframe it that way, not about race, but about the historical scope of influence and impact, then the most defensible answer would be European colonial empires, particularly during the age of exploration through the 19th century, carried out some of the largest and most consequential deceptions in recorded history. Colonial powers, Spain, Britain, France, Portugal's. Man, you can't lie about that. Damn. All right, the British and India, man. Dang. All right. You can't get like that. Call all you how about meow shy. See, they're gonna have to shut chat down, right? They're gonna have to nerf my boy chat. They're gonna have to do it, man, because it's revealing a lot of information that and it's great because chat, ChatGPT or chat, as you hear like the apostles and some of the elders talk about, mentioned it as, it has, at one point it wasn't as useful as it is now. Right, a couple years ago, I wasn't the earliest adopter because I didn't like entering my phone number in. But I didn't realize if you download the app, you can log in with your Google account, which is, or your Apple account, which is like, the same shit anyway. But I was like, I don't really trust it. Kind of a Luddite when it comes to new technology. I'm like, I don't know. With certain things, I'm a techie, but when it's stuff like that, that's a little extreme, right? That's like some Blade Runner shit. Right, that's edging on the verge of cyberpunk, right? New computer parts, sure, whatever, cool, right? New technological advancements in video games and virtual effects, sure, cool. But when it gets to AI, artificial intelligence, that's a little Blade Runner-y, right? That's a little crazy. That's a little out there, man. That's a little RoboCop. But I eventually went on it, and it was not good at the start because it only had it was decent. You could still pull a lot of information, but it's better now because at first you could not pull information live, all right? It couldn't search the internet. Everything was, what's not segregated, but kind of like lumped in. It was all, there's a word for it, and I can't think about it. Not proprietary. I can't remember I can't think of the word for it, but it was all, you couldn't step outside of it. All right, it had no access to the outside world, and it was basically in a box. All right, but a couple years ago they added a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I can't remember exactly when they did it. They added a feature to be able to search the internet and pull new information live. So it's interesting. It's cool. But they can't pull information a lot. Like, without looking it up, is Ozzy dead? Yeah, see? Without looking it up, is Ozzy dead? It says, as of the latest information I have, mid-2025, Ozzy Osbourne is still alive. Though he's had serious health, you know. So then you can just go, yeah, look it up. And you'll find out real quick. It says, and then you see it'll update itself. Yeah, he died July 22nd, 2025 at the age of 27. Or 27. 76. All right, I'm over here mixing these. 22 and then 7. So it says the list on his death certificate was acute myocardial infarction, a heart attack. Parkinson's disease with automatic dysfunction. I didn't know that. It's the first time I'm learning that. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, man. So they now you can pull, because back in the day you'd be like, no, Ozzy's still alive, and you wouldn't be able to convince it otherwise. But now it can pull information from the internet, which is great. Call you how about you meow shy for that. And what I'm rambling on about is that when they added that feature, it was already pretty good, because there's a lot of information that was already out there, right? And they would update it every year. But now it can pull information in a second. And you know how much historical farce, all right, historical fallacy, all right, that you can, you know, blow right through when you have access to everything? Huh. Yeah, it's hard to lie when you have a little robot at your fingertips that can literally answer any question, all right, and pull facts and receipts on it. Edomites, man, y'all are going out. Going out. So, slacking. Let's get some more. So let's get Proverbs 12 and 20. All right, and it reads, and I'll close this out because I don't need this anymore. But it says, deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil, but to the counselors of peace is joy. I already got that. But let's move on to Proverbs 14 and 25. A lot of Proverbs. Excellent, excellent, excellent book. All right, Proverbs 14 and 25. It says, a true witness delivereth souls, but a deceitful witness speaketh lies. And that's what they are. They're a deceitful witness. All right, you would never want Esau, all right, to like act as a witness for you. All right, that's not necessarily what it's talking about, but in general, I'm talking about with how much Esau lies. You never want it to be an Edomite that was your witness. All right, you would hope it was a Jake, or that some Hamite or, you know, Moabite down the way saw it, not an Edomite, because Edomites will just lie. They'll just lie their ass up. You know, they can't really even help it, right? They really can't even help it, you know. And when I meet someone who's a routine liar, I can't help but just think that they might just be an Edomite, you know, regardless of what, you know, how they look, or, you know, oh, my dad's this, like, oh, he might just be an Edomite. You know, there's this guy I was cool with at my job. Mexican guy, so-called Native American Mexican guy, but he just lied his ass off constantly, man. And he was in the military, and he acted a little weird. Now, he could have just been a self-hating Jake, but you know, I always, you know, I'm still contemplating, you know. And my wife, you know, would pick me up for work. She, you know, the guy was there, all right, and you know, he would talk to us because we were cool with him, and he, you know, you couldn't really tell if the guy's an Edomite or not. You know, it's like, yeah, maybe he is, maybe he's not. You can't really tell, you know. And he was a cool guy, you know. Went out to Denny's with him once, right? And it was just you know, you can't really tell, because Esau is a routine liar. Okay, they do it on a routine. They love it. They'll just lie about anything. They'll lie about anything. But Jake has a habit with lying, too. They'd be doing some fucking lying ass shit all the time. Don't, man, I'm a millionaire, man. Don't you know? I had a Jake come in. Hey, he could have been an Edomite for all I know, regardless of what he looked like. But he's like, yeah, man, I'm a millionaire, man. I got lots of money, man. That's how it is, man. And he, you know, slipped up and told me about how he rode the bus to get to the place where I work at. And I said, what the fuck, Mike? Yeah, man, even though, you know, oh, I'm still a millionaire, but I still ride the bus, you know, because, you know, I'm coming out here from Florida, man, and, you know, I don't need everybody to know my business. I'm just saying, look, if I was a millionaire, I would not be riding a bus, okay? I would get a private shuttle, okay? And they would shuttle me where I need to be. I'm not going to be on the fucking bus with a bunch of riffraff and peasants, right? That's how I'd think if I was super ultra mega rich like that, All right, I'm not gonna be on the bus with a bunch of these brokies. All right, over here that might stab me over $1. Hell no, I'm not gonna. No, thank you. I want a private Rolls Royce, and I want you to deliver me to my destination. Thank you very much. Here's $100. All right, I biddeth you adieu. Bye bye. Farewell. All right, ciao ciao. All right, cool. Onward. Right to Neiman Marcus we go. All right, that's how it would be. Okay, I'm gonna fucking get on a bus. All right. Hell, I'm not a millionaire now, and I'm not getting on a fucking bus. All right, if I had to, shit. I'd pray very vigorously before getting on that thing. I don't want to get on no fucking bus. All right, the buses out here in Vegas, they're rough, man. You're liable to get in a fight just by being all.
What you looking at, Mova? Huh? The demons I was talking to told me to look at you and come over here. Who you think you is, huh? I see you laughing at me. I saw that demon on your shoulder looking at me like I was some piece of shit, man. I'm gonna cut your throat out with this here garden hose.
I was like, this motherfucker's sick. He's sick in the head. All right, Vegas has a big mental health problem, man. If you come here, you'll see motherfuckers walking down the street talking to themselves, and it's not always crack. All right? Sometimes it's mental illness and crack. All right, which is a fantastic combination, by the way. Gotta love to see it. Gotta love to see a mentally ill crackhead that's walking around just fucked out of their mind in both ways. You see it a lot here in Vegas. They're fucked up and crazy. You don't want to even get near them. And a lot of mental fucking crazy ass fucking people here. Right? So I don't know what it does. Desert attracts some fucking weirdos for sure. But yeah, man. And these Edomites, it's all about deceit with them, right? And lying. So every time someone's a real liar, there's people that lie or have lied and tell a lie from time to time. And then there's a liar. All right, it's kind of like sin and sinner. Someone who sins or has sinned. From time to time. I'm someone who has sinned from time to time. We're all people who sin from time to time, but we would not call ourselves sinners. Okay, sinner is someone who habitually lives in sin. All right, they live in it. They love it. All right, they actively enjoy it, really. Right? And we don't enjoy it. We feel remorse, so we're not a sinner. Right? So this is Proverbs 14 and 25, and then we're gonna go ahead and close out. Proverbs 14 and 25. It says, "A true witness." Well, no, we already got that. That's not what I wanted. I wanted, Slakia. Proverbs 12 and 19. Slakia, a little tired and losing track of where I was. This is, I want to get this in the Good News Translation, and I want to get it in the regular KJV. So, Proverbs 12 and 19, in the KJV here, says, "The lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment." This is a scripture we've been getting quite frequently, and it's true, and it just goes to show you that, and really this is, we could have got this up here. It's really like the same scripture, but I don't know why I didn't piece them together, but I think I just didn't notice and see, but that's just how it works. Is that they think that their lie is going to last longer than it really does. Again, they don't know the scripture and they don't live by them. So they think if they make a lie, somehow they'll be able to, they'll be able to live on for a long time. But no, like it says, but a lying tongue is but for a moment, only for a moment, right? In the Good News Translation, it says, "A lie has a short life, but truth lives on forever." It's true. It doesn't take too long to figure out that, something that someone said was fucking bullshit. All right. Nowadays in this digital age, you just got to look it up. All right. Esau says, they do all this crime. You're not more likely to be attacked by them. No, you're more likely to be attacked by a white person. We looked it up. We got the actual statistics. All right. Well, black people do more crime. No, black people do more crime per capita. All right. They do not do more crime. White people do more crime. Black people do more crime per capita, okay? Which means because there's, and that's a lie too, all right? But because, you make Jake seem like they're a smaller population than they are, so, and that's another reason why they do that. If they make you seem like a very small population, your actions are going to be amplified per capita, all right? That's another, and, Jake is like the sand of the sea. We're very numerous, all right? It's just not everybody looks like Wesley Snipes, all right? Or Danny Trejo, right? So not everyone's gonna look like that, okay? And because of that, they say, "Oh, the very small number." But among that number, boys, there's some crime, all right? Because it makes our per capita rates look worse. Okay, you can look that up. You can ask ChatGPT about it. I recommend getting learned about it, okay? Because I always felt that was a bullshit ass statistic. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, it is a bullshit statistic, all right? And it's mostly used deceitfully to make us look worse than we actually are, when they're the ones doing the crime. Here it is, they'll say, black people do more crime, and then you look it up and say, oh, there's this crime perpetrated by 400,000 white people. Same crime was like 235 convicted people that were black. So wait, they're doing, this crime at more than a double rate. Okay, but because they're larger, it doesn't look as bad. You're more likely to be attacked, robbed, stolen from as, by a so-called white person, all right? But they'll say Jake is the one that'll do it. Sure. Oh, Jake's violent. Well, Jake pretty much only perpetrates crime against other black people, all right? You don't see black people shooting up a whole bunch of white people, all right? You don't. You see black people shooting up black people. So shouldn't you just let them do it? Wouldn't that make you happy? You don't even know. You're double-minded. You don't even know what to do. You don't even know what to do, man. So we're going to get ready to close out here. That's pretty much it. How long will this end up going? 41. I thought it was like 20 minutes. I thought we were running short. But 40 minutes is great. Like that. Call you how about you meow shy. So we're going to close it there. All right. Deception, the all-American pastime. You know what? I'm going to change it. I changed it now. Deception, the all-Idumaean pastime. I like that. I like that a lot better. Call you how about you meow shy for that idea. So that's the lesson. Deception, the all-Idumaean pastime. Lord, what was edifying? Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Badash. I want to say shalom to your brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Till next one, Lord willing. Shalom.